Hello guys and welcome, Soren here, and today we are going to do the analysis of the Koshien finals that happened on Saturday, which was 2 days ago, and that opposed GGBoyz and Legend of Boshi, I think, or something like this. And yeah, so I've real quick, I haven't been posting videos because I haven't really played Splatoon for the past 6 months, but still followed a bit of the community. And since I've been in Japan for my studies for the last 6 months as well, well, I had the chance to be myself at the Koshien here in Japan, and I could live this beautiful moment with um, with all the crowd. That was absolutely incredible experience, to be honest. And with this video, I want to share all the knowledge that I got by playing with Japanese players about Turf War and also about how the mode is played, because I think this mode is generally rather unknown or unfamiliar with most Western players. And even top players don't really have an idea because we just don't play the mode, and I think it's normal, but this mode gets a lot of attention from viewers, especially. This proposes a really interesting viewer experience just because of the fact you can not know who is going to be the winner until the end results most of the time. So this makes it very interesting and kind of stressful to watch at the same time, but still interesting in my opinion. Anyway, uh, so this is going to be best of three. First team to two, and we're gonna see GGBoyz, so the current champions of Koshien, also world champions for 2 years in a row. You probably know them already if you follow the competitive scene. And on the opposing team, we have le jぇんどのぼうし, which is Legend of the Hat, I think. Something not, well, nothing too fancy, but I don't really know the players. But they pulled out a really solid competition, and this is the final of the qualifier. So this is just a qualifier. This is not the final tournament. The final tournament will happen around April, I think. And all right, there we go. Let's talk about the comps first. So here on the side of GGBoyz, we can see L3D, Explorer, Brush, and L3. If you don't know the players, on first is Taiji, second Dynamon, third Etona, and fourth is Renzone. Renzone is their new player who's replacing Yamamichi. Yamamichi, who announced last year that he was stopping Splatoon and stopping professional and competitive because he wanted to focus on his studies. Therefore, is the new replacement. He hasn't been officially added to GGBoyz yet, but it was definitely their a very strong substitute for this game, for this team in this set. So regarding the weapons, so the Explorer here is going to be played by Dynamon. So the second player is going to be the backline player. Um, this is not extremely relevant, but some teams just don't play any backline in Koshien and they still succeed. When I say they don't play any backline, they don't play any backline dedicated to weapons. So for example, they just don't play Charger, they don't play Heavy, they don't play Ballpoint, they don't play Explorer, they just play L3D can be played as a backline weapon. For example, just painting in the back and holding range with the inkjet is a possible strategy. In this case, it's gonna be Taiji playing it, so he is gonna be mostly staying in mid, painting the sides, and using inkjet to push forward. Well, Etona and Renzone, so Etona is the brush, Renzone is the L3, which is not inkjet, which is the ball version. They're gonna be the one pushing forward and trying to distract the enemy. Etona is the one who's gonna be distracting the enemy. This is a very important role in Turf War, so it can be played by several roles, but in general you see a tent umbrella or a brush, and sometimes it's also played with by Slosher, but it's a bit more different type of gameplay because Slosher has different matchups and doesn't really have all the options just as Brush to run away. It just has the bowler. Um, on the side of Legend of Boshi, so they're playing 4 L3 despite the nerf. Uh, they already pulled it out in semifinals against the team they won against. They got destroyed on this map with the double L3, the 4 L3, so the L12 just didn't work out. I don't really know why they pulled it out. Like these players are not playing L12 on all any maps beside this one. I just don't think it made any sense. But anyway, let's take a look at the maps at the match now. Keep in mind that the abilities are only main abilities. There are no sub abilities for Koshien. And so let's take a look at the map at start. So we're gonna see here that players placement is very important at the start. You generally have two players painting the spawn at the start because it takes a lot of time to paint the spawn later on. But painting the spawn uh, where is worth the most amount of percentage for the final results. So you have to paint the spawn perfectly every single little spot. And you generally have two players that are going to be going forward at the start, generally long range players. So here we have the Explosha going forward with Renzon, so it's him. It's the L3, the vanilla L3. So do you want these two players to push forward? And on the enemy team, it's a bit less interesting to talk about this, but since they have all four the same weapons, but they have the same strategy with two players painting the spawn here, one player being uh, a bit late. So this player is going to be late. This is the same as Etona here on the brush. We can see pretty much mirror strategy, and this player here is gonna run towards the L3 in the mid, around the middle. So what you need to know about Turf War is that it's a 3-minute match, and this at the time is the most important factor. So you can be losing for 2 minutes and a half, and doesn't matter. You want to win at the end of the 3 minutes. There is no KO possible after you hold, for example, 70% of the map. You absolutely need to be winning at the end, and therefore the last 20 seconds are very important, but it's not the most important. It's just there's one factor that makes it important, so basically the final fight. You'll see it later on. I don't really know if this set they really did it, but for example, on the set that happened the second day, the finals had a very interesting final on Reef. Like the both teams, one team had full control, the other team had no control, but both teams just charged their specials for the so for the entire last minute. 20 seconds left, they activate everything, and whoever wins this fight has a good chance to either keep or like gain a lot of map control. And the team that had absolutely no map control could fully come back by winning the fight and wiping the enemy team. So we can see here very aggressive start by one of the players of Legend Noboshi. It absolutely goes forward really fast using Bowler, and one of his teammates is going to jump to him. This is a questionable strategy, but that means that Dynamon is forced to back up, and they even got a kill from this. So GGBoyz is really pressured, and Legend Noboshi won the mid fight here. So since they're gonna respawn here, GGBoyz is gonna have to paint the spawn because it's the best moment to paint it. You don't really commit too much. You don't really, because if you're painting the spawn, you're not pressuring mid basically. So you want to paint the spawn at the start or around the first minute and a half at your first death. If you die, usually you want the backline to not die, for example. And after that, you can fully focus on pressuring mid. So I think this game is gonna go a bit back and forth. Looking at Dynamon right now, is trying to pressure while Taji is pushing forward with thanks to Dynamon long range. The only reason why Dynamon can push that and Daiji can push that much forward is because Dynamon has the longest range of the game of this game, and the other L3 it's totally impossible for them to move forward. The only need like right now is to farm their bowlers. So I think this is the bowler is not the strongest strategy, but you want some bowlers. And for example, on the second day, I don't really think there was any bowler strategy. Like all the teams played without bowlers. So it's not necessary to play L3 uh, for the meta. So here we have Etona who went back to deal with the players who are flanking behind. I don't think again it's a good strategy to have a player that goes alone inside the enemy spawn at this time. But for example, when it's like 20 or 30 seconds remaining, a single player going into enemy spawn, and I remind it again, enemy spawn is what is worth the most percentage, is gonna be a winning move. We have Taiji here using Inkjet, getting some very important kill. You really want to have some kills with the Inkjet most of the time. It's turret force, so you have a lot of map control, and if your teammates can push forward with you, you generally just pressure enough with the Inkjet to just paint in front of them, and they cannot deal with it. Another thing here we just saw is that you're gonna have a lot of sharking in Turf War. And this works for Brush, this also works a lot for Brawlers. Brawler is a popular weapon in Turf War because Ink Armor is not a popular choice. Most of the weapons with Ink Armor are not very strong in Turf War. They're like maybe decent. Ends up is okay. Junior is underplayed. And weapons that kill really fast. So roller, even blaster, but blaster doesn't paint much and doesn't get so much value from moving around in your own ink. Are gonna be able to shark in their own ink because you paint every single part of the map, and that's how you're gonna get some very important kills. So you can say that here GGBoyz is overall completely winning the game, and Etona is sharking, waiting for an opportunity to get a kill on the one of the L3s, and the most important for him is to take them down before they use their bowler. And the whole team is gonna push in, and Etona saw that he didn't have any possibility to get a quick kill and engage them, and instead he's gonna save his bowler and just paint the enemy spawn. And you can see there's a lot of yellow here, and it's gonna make them lose a lot of time before they can come back towards mid. So here GGBoyz is just fully holding this situation. On the side of Legend Nobushi, they got a really important kill here on Taiji. We have Legend Nobushi players that are fully pushing the enemy spawn while they completely gave up on mid. So basically their strategy here is they want to get the mid control and the spawn control, and the way to get it is by totally ignoring mid with all the players by giving jumps, and by ignoring that they can sandwich the players of GGBoyz in middle. I don't think the strategy works when they have a brush because the brush is so mobile and can come back way too fast. Also, side note, I think Etona's brush is the MVP for GGBoyz. His moves were like actually so perfect in terms of game sense. It just always is in the right location. And here Dynamon fully holding mid, putting a lot of pressure. Very hard to deal with. It's not on a fully killing streak. And this is 20 seconds remaining. And this is, you see, Adonai going on the enemy spawn, trying to get some painting here. Here you can see he keeps going. It knows what is his location. He knows what he's doing with 10 seconds remaining. He can fully hold these players. And with Etona distracting two players at once in the last 20 seconds, forcing them to focus on him because he's painting the spawn, GGBoyz is going to secure the win here with a very significant win. Like they were totally holding them, like very dominant win. Um, so this game, not the most interesting in terms of comeback and strategy from both teams because I think GGBoyz was much better. We can see here in the KDs that this is mostly up to kills from Etona and Taiji with the inkjet, and Dynamon was doing a huge job in mid. And on the opposite team, obviously they have such a bad comp to go up against that I think it's normal. They just simply didn't have a chance. All right, let's skip to the next game. All right, and this is gonna be Snapper Canal Turf War. I think this map was really misplayed by GGBoyz, so this is gonna be a map GGBoyz let lose. Unusual pick here with the Luna Blaster in the side of Legend Nobushi against the Luna. I think it's like okay, just not the craziest. Bamboo is really popular on Snapper because let me for here. So Bamboozler can fully hold this old part and farm missiles. This is one of the only maps where you're gonna want missiles at all costs because missiles from the top here towards this entire area are really strong. Generally, you want to hold this area. It's one of the most points worth. This area is not worth a lot of points actually, but you always want one player to focus here and use their missiles and farm missiles against the enemy players doing usually the exact same thing. And once you're 2 or 3 players have control of this area, you want to move forward here and towards this fight. But this is very hard to do, and that's why when you want to retake this area, you need the missiles to be working for you. On the side of GGBoyz, so I wanted to mention Etona is on the Jet Squasher. So Vanilla Jet Squasher with mist and missiles. I think this is what cost them the game because I think Etona is maybe their MVP. At least his movements are so good and the way he unlocks the situation. Despite all the players, like for example Taiji and Renzone, they're not unlocking the situation. They are just consistent at doing kills, but they're not distracting the opponent. But they can do kills from Etona's distractions most of the time. But here Etona is not gonna distract anyone, so it's gonna be only up to the L3 to like move forward with just their injets. And Dinone's a bit behind here, because it's very hard for Explode to put a lot of pressure in mid, and he gets shot right at the start directly by the Luna. The Luna gets a double kill here, getting another kill. So here, GGBoy, we can see they're not prepared for this kind of comp and this kind of situation. This is a huge kill by Renzone again, and it's gonna die to the Luna, I think. Yeah, Dynamon gets the back-to-back kill, and you're gonna see in this entire game, Dynamon is gonna die like 3 or 4 times in this plat, like right here, like just where he died, is gonna die all the time to the Inkjet. Um, Renzone here, Taiji, sorry, applying for a new Inkjet. You just want to hold your spawn right here, and then you want to use Inkjet from this location with another player. You completely give up on mid. Both teams are you can see here are totally giving up on mid. They just don't care. And the Bamboo and Etona are gonna just face here. So I think Etona died because he's on 0-1. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he died to the Bamboo or something. I just didn't see when. But I don't think it's that much relevant. Like this part is just a bit useless to focus on. This part of the area. I just want one player to be there, and the rest of the important things is the bottom. The Luna here making another great play, taking out one player. Great synergy as well with the Inkjets of his teammates, and this is really strong game from Legend Noboshi in my opinion. Did the fact that they have all the map control make all the L3D very relevant. Here comes another Inkjet that's gonna focus on Dynamon once again. You can see on the right screen this time, and he gets Dynamon. This is just impossible for an Exploser to kill an Inkjet. Well, it's not impossible. It's just incredibly hard and unlikely for an Exploser to kill an Inkjet mid-air. And that's exactly what's gonna happen for the entire game. Just using Inkjet from this location is just way too strong when you have control, and this is their entire strategy is based on. Huge kill here on Dynamon again. Dynamon really playing very aggressive. He's not playing backline waiting for like supportish. He's really playing aggressively because he doesn't want to give any options for the enemies to push in, and he just wants to pressure them while the Inkjets are gonna finish the kills by the clay. But this doesn't seem to be a relevant strategy in my opinion. And really, we can really see it's like a 3v3 and a 1v1 at different part of the map. So here Dynamon changed his location. Is now pushing from mid, and he finally like chose that it was not the right play to push on this side of the map. And the Inkjets just don't stop coming from Legend Noboshi. Huge kill here. I think it's on Taiji. Yeah, it's on Taiji from the bamboo. So you see this, they completely could not control this area. GGBoyz. They tried to change their path and go through mid, but here the bamboo is absolutely dominant. He has a huge position. He has the range, and the relief of the map makes it totally a beast. And this is a full blue comp from Legend Noboshi. Now here we have the bamboo. He's gonna run away after using missiles. Chased by Dynamon on the left. They get one kill here on the Luna blaster, and this is the one moment GGBoyz finally got to regroup. They finally got to push together and do something. This is gonna be a kill, but in the end the L3 was waiting for them in mid. And it's gonna be a full wipe, and they got totally dominated. Let's be honest on this map. And I think this is just a bit sad that, for example, Legend Noboshi didn't try to play this comp on Sturgeon Shipyard because the 4 L3 was just so weak. But yeah, this is a much better game from them. We can see 7 Inkjet here on the side of Legend Noboshi, only 4 on the side of GGBoyz. Dynamon couldn't pull out a single bowler. He just died every time before using bowler. I think this and that and you can see Etana is painting the most because he was just contesting the bottom of the map with the bamboozler. I think this entire game came down to GGBoyz being able to like slow down a bit, regroup together, use their specials with both the Inkjet and the Explosion Pressure, and especially Dynamon didn't slow down at all on this map. But even if it's a pretty bad game from Dynamon here and GGBoyz overall, we will see that the next game is gonna show some very different kind of up level. So a part of the Koshien rule is that the maps are random. So there's a pool of 8 maps available, but the maps are generally randomly decided. And now that they are at 1-1, they need to decide who is gonna choose the random map. So when I say who's gonna choose the random map, so they're just gonna play this. I don't even know how to say that. What's the name of this game in English? But so it's gonna choose which card is gonna be played out of 3, and one of the 3 is gonna be the map. So it's a bit, yeah, still random as fuck. And this is Humpback Pump Track, a map on which GGBoyz lost in semifinals, if I remember correctly. This is a map where the Etona is playing Slosher, is not playing the Brush. Although in my opinion, the Brush has been really very very strong weapon from him. Um, and another thing I want to mention about the Koshien, so you can see how fucking big the crowd is. Another thing I want to mention about the Koshien, there is no communication between the players. So you can see this guy has a headset. This is his own headset. The rest of the players are bringing earbuds or AirPods and stuff because you don't have the possibility to communicate. This is one of the big things I think are bad at Koshien. The rest is beautiful, but this is a bit sad. That the tournament at this like so high of a level has no communication. And let's get into the game. So one thing about the Japanese thing is that when the game starts, everyone is gonna like scream "play ball," which is a reference to the actual Koshien. And you can see here it's me, like with the Stasi switcher. That was a really hype match, to be honest. I had a really good position to watch it all. Um, let's take a look at the comp before we skip to the next part. So GGBoyz is gonna run an NZAP from Taiji. Um, so the last time they lost this map, they lost in the last 20 seconds before Taiji because Taiji made a huge mistake. So he had armor ready, and he overextended to get a kill that he didn't get, and he lost armor. So the rest of GGBoyz was in 3v4 without armor for in the last 20 seconds, and they were already getting pressured by the enemy special. So that's why they lost. And we can see that this time GGBoyz fully learned about this. And on the side of Legend of Bushi, we have some kind of counter picks. So the Tentabell is a very popular pick on Humpback Pump Track because of these closed, like these two parts that are very very strong for tent, and especially the tent with wall and curling bomb rush. The curling bomb rush just baits, and the wall is very good at dealing with enemy Tentabella in case there is. In the case there is not, which they know, it's just very good at blocking the enemies because it takes a while to remove the splash wall on this specific area. So the Tentabella is going to spend most of his time on this route, and it's going to be generally a pain to deal with for teams without a Tentabella or without a splash wall, because the splash, in case you don't know, the splash wall totally kills the Tentabella shield. And so the second counter pick we can see here is the stamp L3. So it's also as a splash wall, and the splash wall is also to push on the left side because obviously it's a very good choice here. And the first, like the early kill on Etona is pretty huge because it doesn't allow them to push towards the mid. So the mid is going to be early controlled by Legend Noboshi, and after the comeback of Etona, they use armor with all 4 players up and flanking Taiji, and they get a full wipe. I think it's almost a full wipe. Yeah, I think it's a full wipe. And that's how they're gonna get the full control here. I think this is in general a really strong game from GGBoyz. Not as dominant as Surgeon because they're not playing a fucking ass comp. But yeah, in general, really strong game. I think Legend of Boshi has really strong individual players. And it's just a bit sad that they threw it totally the first game. So Dynamo's gonna play the entire mid. It's gonna always stay in mid around the center and try to get to put pressure on the enemy spawn from afar, thanks to his range. And you can see Renzon here's positioning is really like. Okay, let's take a look at this action again. So here Dynamo you can see is shooting towards this. Renzon is here in 1v2, but just you can see here Dynamo just shooting from mid with Explosher is simply like denying totally this area and allowing Etona to push up, and this is like just really really good like coordination of players. I think this is really huge, and because of this, you can like I think this action is really great from GGBoyz. Like it's very hard to do without simply without speaking. So you can see that Etona is pushing here, Taiji is pushing here, Dynamon is pushing pressure from mid on this area, and that's simply how they're gonna totally fully deny this. And the players that were on top have to drop towards Taiji, and Taiji is just there to welcome them. And that's gonna be another full wipe for GGBoyz. And this time we can see it's much better mastered by GGBoyz in case you watch the semifinals. And so far they have a really good control. GGBoyz didn't die, so they did not paint their spawn. You can see here like they're missing like a good part of the spawn, which is really important for the final results in case they come back in the last second. So one player is gonna soon have to come back and commit to painting this. Alright, Edna is now pressured. This is time where Legend of Boshi has the special that they're getting ready. And it's going to be a very important moment for them to get some kills on GGBoyz. Here comes another bullet from the L3. This time it dies, and this is going to be some kind of a comeback moment now that Renzon died. This is a weak position for GGBoyz. Etna is not going to try to join and get the kill. Taiji gets huge trade. This is such an important trade to kill a Tenta on this side. Otherwise, the Tenta can solo push the whole area and paint everything and go towards your spawn. I think this was a very important movement, and the fact that they're still holding means that Etona and Dynamon did a huge job here. We don't really see it on the camera nor on the map, but this is exactly what they needed. And Etona gets, I think Etona gets taken down on the left side. Uh, and we're gonna see last 20 seconds now. This was looking really scary. Like when you're here and you're GGBoyz, this is really scary. The enemy team is starting to have their specials ready. You're one player down, two players down because Renzon died and Etona is just respawning. At least your spawn is painted now. And you have to hold mid, and the mid is so important to hold. Now Taiji is up against the Tenta, which is a bad matchup for him. And now let's take a look at Dynamon for the last 10 seconds. So they are two players up. Dynamon and Etona are just simply gonna fully handle the mid with just like in 2v3 or something, like some kind of unlikely. And these moves from Dynamon are absolutely massive, and this is the only reason why they won. If Dynamon was dead, right here, if the Slasher killed Dynamon, this was game over, and GGBoyz would have lost the tournament. And I think this was a really, really good match. And when I said that Dynamon was gonna fully make it for the last game, this is exactly what I meant. Like, this move is really, really, really good, and this is exactly why they won. So you can see that a lot of people say that Turf War is a lot about the last 30 seconds. I think it's wrong. I just think that the last team fight has a lot of impact on the final results, and if you win the last team fight when you were fully losing, like you have no map control, you can still expect to have a little chance to win. It's the same as overtime. Like if you get wiped a single time in Rainmaker, the enemy team is gonna push and very likely get the lead or snowball because they have specials and you're all dead. I think this is the exact same. This is just overtime before overtime actually exists. And this set was really interesting to watch. Personally for me, since I've been playing a lot of Turf War recently. And I think the main thing we need to understand Turf War is the player's role. So in general, I already mentioned it, but like you have the backline player, no matter the weapon. You have the backline player, the distract player. The player is gonna be more supportive, and the player is gonna be pretty much the front line. And I think this was really why GGBoyz was stronger, and it's that they could fully show their strength with like perfect rollout, and they were aware of the strength of their weapons on each side. Like they had good positioning, they had a game plan, and they were holding to it. And in addition to that, they could also have coordination. So Turf War is a lot of about game plan because even worse for Koshien, you don't have communication at the LAN, and this is playing a huge part for compared Splatoon in general. But yeah, I could go on for a long time about Turf War. I just hope that you guys enjoyed this analysis and hope you learned something, a thing or two. I don't know if I try to make it like a bit not too obvious, like not say too many like super complicated facts about TOEFL because I don't think that's quite interesting. I think we this is a mostly misunderstood and unknown mode for the West, so I try to make it a bit more casual friendly. But hoping that we see more TOEFL in the West because this mode doesn't get all the recognition it deserves in my opinion, and it is a really great experience for the viewers, and it's also very accessible for newcomers because the rule is very simple. When you watch a tower control or Splatoon game and you have this overtime thing, or you have to you have the penalty popping, you're like, what the fuck is happening if you're a newcomer? But if you're watching a turf war, you just need to know that whoever paints the most is winning. So this is pretty easy to understand in my opinion, and I think this could benefit some tournaments. I know most people don't agree, but I just wanted to state that. And hope you guys enjoyed. And I don't know if I'll post more videos later, but maybe. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you later.